and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ray. I am making casual content of things that I enjoy doing and filming. And if you saw my last video, you may have seen me talk about these cookies. This coloring page that I did, it inspired me to do some Christmas baking. I have never baked anything from scratch, so it's going to be really new to me. I love cooking, but baking is a whole different territory. And I'm making cookies like this, sugar cookies with icing that's similar to royal icing. So I think it's going to be trickier than I'm anticipating, and there will be some mistakes along the way. But I thought I'm going to film it. I love watching baking videos, so I thought it'd be really fun to film and edit my own. So that's what I'm gonna do today. I'm excited to give this to people with their gifts, or I might just take like tubs of them to like my family gatherings. But either way, I'm just so excited about it, and I can't wait to show you all the things that I got. One thing in particular I'm really excited about is cookie cutters. I was looking into different cookie cutter shapes and sets. They're quite expensive, and it was hard to find a mix of the right shapes that I wanted. So I made a list of my favorite shapes, and I found a set at Michael's that came in this cute little plastic container. It has 18 cookie cutters, and it had all the shapes I wanted. It's just exactly what I was looking for, and I got it on sale for $6.50. So I was so excited about that. I feel like I'm gonna say I'm so excited a bunch in this because that's what I am right now with Christmas. So anyway, this is gonna be very laid back. I'm gonna go ahead and show you all the things I got, and then I'm gonna get into it. I've got my fuzzy, comfortable sweater on. This always makes me feel very Christmassy. I wore it to the Southern Christmas show this year, and I've had it for years. I actually think it was my mom's, and then it got passed down to me. And it's so cozy, and it makes me feel festive. It's gonna get some flour and some sugar on it, I'm sure, but I'm ready for it. So if that sounds like something you're interested in watching, please bake alongside me or just come along for the ride, but I'm happy you're here. I wanted to show a couple of the things I got. First thing is a sifter. This is for the powdered sugar and the icing. I didn't own one already, so I'm happy to have that. I brought down a couple of my Tupperwares to take them into family gatherings. We've got food coloring here. I'm hoping to mix these colors to create different shades. And then I had some extra cookie cutters on hand, treat bags that I thought people could take them home in. This is decorating bags, like piping bags, and tips. I wrote down some tips from the recipe I'm using, which is by Sugar Spun Run. I will put it in the description. I am making the regular version and the chocolate because there's only one ingredient that's different. So I figured I might as well create a variety. And then I'm gonna do her easy sugar cookie icing that's supposed to taste better and be a little bit more foolproof than royal icing. Really excited about those. We've got decorating stuff here. I've got leftover eyes. If you saw my vlog of us making a fire pit, you might have seen me mention these or show them, but we didn't end up using them for a Halloween treat we were gonna make. So I thought I may or may not use them in this. I had leftover sprinkles from earlier this summer, and then these are some holiday specific sprinkles that I got, and some sanding sugar. Got the ingredients out, hand mixer, a scale, measuring spoons. Got my iPad to follow along with her video, and then some measuring bowls. And then I'm softening the butter over here. I did it overnight, but they weren't quite soft enough. So I put some hot water from my electric kettle in these glasses, dumped it out, and then now I put the warm glasses over the butter. And that seems to usually do the trick. Yeah, pretty soft without being melted. So that should help. We've got those out, some cookie sheets here, and that is everything. I can't wait. So the first thing it calls for is 200 grams of granulated sugar. And then it calls for a cup of unsalted, softened butter. I'm gonna just hand mix this until creamy and well combined. So then it says to add a large egg. And 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And then in a separate bowl, I'm putting 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Three-fourths teaspoon of baking powder. And 3/4 teaspoon of table salt. And then I'm going to slowly mix that into our wet mixture until the dough is smooth and completely combined. I'm getting quite the jam here on my dough jam on my hand mixer. This just in, that little dough jam on my hand mixer was because I had the speed too low. Now that it's mixed together, I'm taking half of it like she shows in the video and I'm putting it in the plastic wrap and creating a disc so I can chill it in the refrigerator. So there's 1 and 2. I put those in the fridge to chill, and then now I'm gonna do it all over again, except this time I'm going to put a little bit less flour. In fact, it calls for 2 cups, instead of 2.5 cups, you'll do 2 with 2 tablespoons of flour, and then I'll add in half a cup of specifically Dutch processed cocoa powder. But everything else will remain the same. I forgot to mention that the chocolate cookie recipe has half a teaspoon of baking powder, whereas the vanilla has 3/4 teaspoon. Did I say teaspoon? Half versus 3/4, both of a teaspoon. Okay, I've got this all stirred. It needed a little bit of extra TLC and extra stirring with a spoon, but I don't know if that's just because of something that I did differently, which is most likely, or if the cocoa powder, the nature of it makes it a little bit more powdery. It just wasn't as moist as I feel like it should have been. It was more powdery. So I stirred it some more and now it's got a consistency that like you can make a ball with it. So similar to the other one. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in cling wrap and stick it in the fridge. 1 and 2. Here I've got the vanilla plain and the chocolate made sort of disc in the plastic wrap, and I'm gonna stick these in the fridge to chill for 2 to 3 hours. The top of my fridge nearly freezes stuff, and this has been in here while I was making the chocolate and it's already firming up quite well. So these I will probably be able to do in the next like 90 minutes or so. While those are chilling in the fridge, I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the counter here because it made quite the mess. I straightened up everything and put most of it away, but I just realized that before I do the dishes and everything, I might just go ahead while I have everything out and while I'm waiting on that, make the icing ahead of time and keep it in the piping bag so it doesn't harden or anything, just so I have it ready. I probably won't end up doing the decorating until tomorrow, but still it would be nice while I have all the ingredients out and stuff instead of putting it away and then pulling it all back out. So I think I'm gonna do that real quick. Also, it's the thing I'm most intimidated by, the colors and everything like that. So I'd like to kind of get it out of the way. That way when I do get to decorating, it's simplified and I could just enjoy it and feel festive. So I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna double the recipe since I'm doing twice as many cookies. So I'm gonna put it in this huge bowl. It might overcomplicate things, but I'm gonna go for it. It calls for 6 cups, well 3 cups, I'm doubling it to 6 of powdered sugar. Oh, I almost forgot, I need to sift. Okay, I have a feeling that's gonna be the hardest part of this. But we've got 750 sifted grams of powdered sugar. It calls for 2 tablespoons of light corn syrup, so I'm gonna do 4. It calls to 3 to 4 tablespoons of milk. So I'm gonna pour 8. Whatever milk I don't end up using, because it's a little carton here, we don't go through a lot of milk. So we buy this shelf stable milk and put it in the fridge and just use it like a cup at a time. And then we just like eat cereal, keep it in the fridge and eat cereal or whatever over the next couple days with it. But anyway, we'll make 8 of these. Woo. Half a teaspoon of clear vanilla extract. I'm gonna do a whole teaspoon. We'll do 2 cups. I just accidentally did a whole tablespoon. Hoping that turns out okay. Okay, I'm hoping that it's not vanilla overload because of my little mishap. So let me try a little taste. Now, I don't really like icing, so I'm not a good test, but. I don't even like icing, and that's really good. I think I might. It's not a ton of icing. I mean, I'm sure once you put it on the cookies, it is more than it looks, especially in this big bowl. But I almost want to double it just to be safe, just so I have plenty of, like, if I end up using more of one color versus another. I have 12 piping bags. I'm gonna actually, I thought about using my color catalog to pick out Christmas colors, but I kind of need to plan with that what designs I'm gonna do and stuff. So I'll be back. I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna shut the curtains because it's starting to get dark, or shut my paper blinds, and then I'll be back. Okay, it's several hours later, and as you just saw, I worked on my iPad to plan out the decorating process to help me know how much of each color of the icing I need and that sort of thing. So, and I just wanted to have an idea of how I would decorate them so it would be a little bit easier. So I went on Pinterest and picked out specific images that I liked for each cookie and put the cutter so I would have an idea of the exact shape, because these all match up pretty good. But this next page, for instance, The dove is really different. I guess I did pick ones that are pretty similar actually. This is a little different, doesn't have a chimney. So I tried to pick ones that were similar, but I planned that out. And then I used those images to put which colors I needed and which cookies used that color. So this will help me know how much of the white I need, how much of the red, how much of the green, and then how much of brown, light blue, orange, yellow, and black. So it won't be an exact science. I probably will have some left over that I can save and make extra sugar cookies like for the new year or something, but this will help me have a little bit more of a gauge. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if the dough is ready to be rolled out. This is the part I was most excited about, is the actual cookie cutting and baking. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And then once they're cooked, I probably will let them cool overnight, and then I'll decorate tomorrow with fresh ice and energy in a clean kitchen. So that's what I'm gonna go ahead and do. This icing, by the way, turned out so good. It's been sitting here and I've stirred it every so often. It maybe could use a little bit more milk. No, I think it's a pretty good consistency, but it tastes really good. In fact, I think I might, I know I put too much vanilla extract. Gosh, I can't say that word today, but I know I put too much of that, but I really like the way this tastes, so I'm tempted to just do that again. But I think I'm gonna double it, so I have extra icing just to be on the safe side. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and figure out the coloring. I finished the first bag of just white icing, but I forgot to put the tip, which I think is okay. I can just use this one instead of for details. I can just use it to like flood the cookies, and a lot of cookies are just straight up white. So I think that's okay. I did clearly go above the fill line. I put a little rubber band. I'm just gonna be careful, hope that that's okay. But anyway, this should be good. I think she said you can pre-make it and put it in this, so hopefully this should be okay, but this icing tastes so good. So now I'm gonna make the black, and I got a #2 tip. They were low stock on the baking tips, but this is a #2, and I'm gonna put black in here because all of the black that I have is like for details like that, like the buttons on the snowman and on the eyes on the gingerbread men. So I just realized I don't have a piece that I need for the piping tips, so I think I'm just going to give these to my brother-in-law who bakes, and I will just cut the tip of the bag, and I'll have to just know in my head that the details won't be as detailed, but it might work. But yeah, it's kind of a bummer, but that's okay. I got them for 99 cents, so they were cheap, but I just need to figure out, I need to get this black icing into a different bag that doesn't have a tip, because I didn't have anything to secure this here, so. Okay, there is the little black one. Here is the red. I finished the brown. blue, yellow, and the teensiest little bag of orange. All right, I've cleared off the counter and cleaned up. Here are the piping bags that I set up for tomorrow. Hopefully they will keep like this. It said that you should put them like in a container and put cling wrap on the top, and that should be stirred. I don't know why when I originally was doing this, I thought in her video that she said you could keep them in here. I might be wrong, but I might just gently massage these in the morning to try to mix them up a little bit. But either way, I'm grateful that they're already done. The colors are mixed, and I think it should work out. And I have it organized so that, you know, I'm not wasting one of too much color, hopefully. And then I have some extra in the colors if I need to make any more of anything. Extra bags in case one bursts or anything like that. And then I've got the cookies, the cookie cutters here. These are a little bit smaller than I thought, some of them. Like you can see, this is quite small, it feels like. But right now I'm gonna organize these. I'm gonna try to get roughly about half and half for brown versus vanilla. So for instance, like I think the gingerbread man, the gingerbread house, the reindeer, like maybe the bell, I'm gonna probably do in the chocolate, the brown, and then things like the snowflake, the angel, things like that I'm gonna do in the vanilla, so it's the lighter colored cookie. So it doesn't matter too much because they're gonna have icing covering them, but the edges will show. So I'm gonna go ahead and organize those. I've had these sitting out. They got a little bit too hard up at the top of my freezer, so I've had them sitting out for maybe 15-20 minutes. So they are softer now. They should roll out good. I see there's a little piece of butter there. But I'm gonna roll these out and cut the cookies and hopefully get them baked tonight before decorating them tomorrow. They're pretty good. Favorite sugar cookies like the Pillsbury ones with a little holiday stuff on them. So in my mind, it's like my brain wants that this to be that, but it's not. It's just a good cookie. It's soft on the inside, golden on the bottom. Good. My husband just did a taste test and said that they're not super sweet, but I said that it's probably because the icing is so sweet, and he said, oh yeah, that's gonna be perfect. So you can see some of them cooked. This one I left in there a little longer, but they're cooking perfectly on the bottom, and they taste amazing, and I think the icing's gonna be literally the icing on the cake. It's gonna be great. So I'm so excited.
This is not super. What are you doing? You making cookies?
Yeah, and they're turning out so good. Hold on.
Aww.
It's just going so unbelievably smoothly. Let me show you the ones that have been cooling. Gosh, I can't show you good. Hold on.
Oh, pretty. Oh my gosh, Ray.
And I'm making chocolate version too, and there's a bunch. I'm just putting one batch in after another. And then I have all of the pie piping, I have multiple piping little bags ready for tomorrow to decorate.
Wow, that's cool. These are beautiful.
Thanks. I did just want to say, in case anyone wants to make this, if there's an air bubble when it gets out, I pressed it down like after I realized it was happening to a couple of them, and you can see that it's flat and it's good. But some of them, this is probably going to be a cookie that I eat tomorrow to taste test, because first of all, the hat was up on the side of the cookie sheet, but also there was an air bubble, and when I scraped it, it did this. So just to note that if you press it down, that's not a problem, but then if it sets that way, it hardens, and then you can't do anything about it. So anyway, my husband prefers the chocolate ones, but I will say that these are much more finicky. Even stirring the batter was finicky, and then rolling it out, it was falling apart more, and probably something I did, but it was going between being really too moist and then other times being falling apart and cracking in certain spots. It was just a little bit trickier than the plain sugar cookie recipe. And then when I got it out, they take longer to set, and they're harder to tell when they're done because you can't tell when the edges are browning. But it's my first time baking, so I'm sure there's probably a trick for that. But I will have officially made 10 batches of cookies. They're all sitting back here on this table cooling. I didn't want to break apart a cookie of each sheet and see if it was done, but my husband said they're done perfectly. I just kept exactly to her timer. I did 10 minutes. It said 8 to 10, I did 10. So anyway, just some notes. Okay, I've got the dishwasher running. The dishes are all clean. I've got the cookie cutters soaking because I just felt like that was the easiest way to clean them. Over here, I've got the things that didn't fit in the dishwasher hand washed. Over here, we have everything ready for tomorrow. I realized that some designs will take like white detailing, and so I'm gonna need a smaller white like this, but of course I have the extra, so that should work out well. And then back here, I've got all of the cookies. I need to do a final count, but it was 10 batches in the oven. Up here is the Misfits. I don't know what happened with this guy. These broke apart. This is the air bubble I showed. These are just the smaller, thinner ones that at the very end of the dough, I would make tiny, like thinner cookies, and then I cooked those separately. So those are a little bit thinner, a little crispier, and I cooked them shorter. You can tell how thick these are compared to those. But there's all the cookies. I'm gonna go ahead and put them, I think. They're all pretty cold by the time I've cleaned and everything. So I'm gonna probably put them in these tubs. Hopefully in the morning I can come in, have a clean kitchen and everything ready to decorate, and it should just be easy for tomorrow. Okay, it is Saturday now. I've had a really productive morning. I'm gonna go ahead and get to decorating. Fingers crossed. I'm actually quite nervous about this because it's gone so well up to this point. I'm just really scared of screwing it up. So we're gonna see how it goes. Okay, here's my setup. I've got the vanilla and the chocolate cookies in airtight containers. They stayed in there overnight. These are ones that are not perfect and that I'd like to do first to get a grasp on how the icing acts. And then I've got water, sprinkles, and then next to my chair here, I have the icing. So, and fingers crossed that I have enough icing, that this is enough. And if not, that I have enough for the colors here, because if not, I'm out of powdered sugar. So I couldn't even quite make the recipe double. I had to do a little less the second time. And then I have my papers here to go off of. So I'm ready to get into it. Okay, I have the first layer of the first cookie done. It definitely is a little bit hardened from being overnight, so it didn't fall into there as well as I feel like it probably could have or should have. I forgot to massage that bag before I opened it. I massaged it this morning, but just now I didn't. So I'll do that with the rest of them and see if it makes any difference. But it still ended up settling fine. I used a toothpick and then I just tapped it on the cooling rack like this, and it seems to have settled pretty well. So I'm gonna let that sit and then I'll do a red ribbon on it. Okay, it's a couple days later, and I wanted to quickly show all of the designs. So here we have some light bulbs, Santa hats, stockings, and candy canes. You can see that over time, the icing, I don't know if it's the powdered sugar in there, but something's kind of happening here, but it's only been a few days. And I know she said that they can keep for 10 days in an airtight container. So I know they're good. I think it's just because it's not like real royal icing that it kind of acts a little different. But I think they still look good. These light bulbs were ones that did not turn out like I wanted. The little fixtures here on the inside, the icing just ran together, and I think it's a little hard to tell what it is. And so I kind of wish I would have left them with just the glittery end and just a plain color, but there was no going back. So those are what they are. And then over here we have snowflakes and doves and stars, angels, snowmen. This is one of my absolute favorites. I think he turned out really well. I love snowman, so I gravitate towards that one. And then this is my husband's favorite tray that I did. These presents down here, we've got a bunch of trees, and then I love the way these turned out, and the mittens are one of my favorites, especially this one. These, again, the icing kind of ran together, and by this point, this was the third one I did, I was overthinking the swirls, so this one is definitely my favorite. But so much green. And then here we have little gingerbread men and the reindeer and these houses. This one's my favorite. This one got knocked and while it was drying. And then this one I had to draw these little windows with toothpicks, and it just didn't do super well. So I wish I would have just done it with the yellow, but that's okay. And then these are bells. I joked with my husband that this looks like a Taco Bell bell, but I did this one first, and I didn't think it was really clear what it was. So then I just kept this one more simple. But those were kind of tricky to make it look like a bell. That is all of them. I just wanted to give my final thoughts on everything. As you can see, I cleaned the kitchen, so that's all done. My husband and I did Christmas yesterday. So that coffee maker is one of the things I got him. And so I didn't film any of me talking yesterday, but I did work on these a little bit. So as I'm filming this, it's Monday. So all of these got done in time for Christmas Eve. So it worked out. But it did take me, let's see, I made them on Friday, and then they cooled overnight. I started decorating on Saturday. I decorated a little bit on Sunday. And then now today's Monday. So it definitely took some thinking ahead. And I'm grateful that I started it days in advance, because it took a process, and I wanted to make sure they cooled overnight and that the icing set overnight, and it took me 2 days for the icing to decorate. So in total, baking the cookies, making them, took me like 8 hours, and then I decorated for about 4 hours on Saturday, and then yesterday I decorated for probably about 3 hours. So it took a while, but they have cooled, the icing has set completely overnight. Now I'm about to pack them into the tubs. But if anybody wants to also make these, I just want to say what the things I found difficult or tricky. One of the things is definitely the icing. When it stayed in the piping bags well, but then once you're actually decorating the cookies, the end of it hardens, and then so like if you go to one color and you're doing it, and then you go to another color, by the time you've switched colors, the end hardens, and then you have to take that off. And then when you're doing it, the longer it goes and the more it hardens, and it makes it so that the lines aren't as straight, and it makes it harder to be as detailed. And the icing definitely runs, so it was definitely tricky. I had to put less than I thought I needed, and then swirl with a toothpick and spread it out. So that was a little tricky. And then I made sure they completely set. The other thing, if you make the chocolate sugar cookies, that dough was definitely more finicky. I mentioned it earlier, but overall I feel like the recipe for the cookies and the recipe for the icing is pretty foolproof. I used a lot of the icing. There is some still left over, but I feel like this was an overall success, and I'm really excited to take it to my family gatherings for Christmas. I think that the cookies taste amazing. I can't remember if I mentioned this or not, but I don't like chocolate, so I haven't tried the chocolate cookies, but my husband says they're amazing and better than a brownie, and he prefers those. I, of course, prefer the vanilla ones, but now we just have to try to not eat them today so that we have them for the get-togethers. You all have probably just watched several time lapses. I love a good time lapse. I think it's so satisfying. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign off and just end the video with one last final time lapse of me packing them up, putting them all together, and so they're ready for tomorrow. I hope that you enjoyed watching this, and if you baked alongside me, please let me know what you baked down in the comments, and I can't wait to see you in my next video.